Hello guys, NautoAce here, and I want to give my quick thoughts on the third NGPX showcase. So there's another one here, basically showcasing my favorite type of game, Japanese anime waifu games. So the companies are going to be showcasing their game are always the best one for this one, so I'm so excited. This Thursday, March the 31st. So I'm going to actually give my thoughts about that once the showcase started. But for this one, I want to do a prediction for one of my favorite company, and that is Idea Factory International. So what are they going to show for the third NGPX? And my guess here first is going to be as obvious, since in Japan, you know what's going on. I did talk about it, quick about it. I know I didn't talk much about it, but because it was only going to be released in Japan, but I wouldn't be surprised if this game also going to be released in the West. But there's going to be a caveat. I'll explain that later. So the big prediction I'm going to get that's going to announce for the NGPX from Idea Factory International is Neptunia Sister versus Sister. So of course they did talk about this game. This game is meant to be the celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Neptunia franchise, but of course at the same time the pandemic happened, so it kind of like slowed down. So even so that the anniversary is done, this game I believe is considered as part of the 10th anniversary. So of course another thing about this game is they did talk about it before about the characters that's going to be in it, the new characters. So a bit of correction is that the two characters said that they were guest star based on a popular other franchise. Well, I take it back. It's not so much of a guest star. They're basically makers based on those particular games. One of them is Higarashi and the other one is Toho Project. So I heard about them, but I'm not in tune to it. But yeah, so there's a bit of a mistake. Is that a guest character? They were actually just makers there. So that's one of my other predictions. And hopefully for this one also, I don't see any reason for this game to not to be dubbed. So if you've been following the latest Neptunia game, they have not been dubbed lately. Granted, they're spin-off, but of course you gotta give them a pass. In the case with Virtual Star Neptunia, they couldn't do it due to the VTuber's license. Gotta pay them. So the suggestion was, can you do a paid English dub DLC? That's always been sort of a suggestion to a broken record. Of course, unfortunately, Japanese company don't want to hear that. They don't want to think about it. The minute the game is released, they're done. But it is a possibility because i.e. My Hero Justice 2 did it. So just saying. But again, hopefully, but that's a different story there. And then in the case with Neptunia Cross Seren Kagura, I did talk about this too. According to Marvelous, they requested to Idea Factory to not dub the game due to the fact that because then that means you have to dub the Seren Kagura characters. What's the problem with that one? Well, you can't just hire anyone, not like in Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. They probably have to use Funimation's voice acting, so that's probably the problem. However, if you know a bit of the story, what's going on, whether you like it or not, Sony just bought not only Funimation, but now Crunchyroll. And to some extent now, which comes to shove, they're merging Crunchyroll and Funimation. So I don't know what that means. Sony has control, but a different story there. But yeah, so that was the reason Marvel had said they couldn't do it. And the rumbling rumor was that Funimation had the dubbing rights and you have to use their voice actor and actresses to dub Seren Kagura, and of course they do demand a lot of money, which is bullshit, but it is what it is then. So with that said, with Sister versus Sister, I don't see any hurdles for not dubbing this game. It doesn't make sense for not dubbing this game. Marvel is not involved, there's no license, and a lot of the characters are 100% original, they're makers, so I don't see the problem. Unless the biggest problem with Idea Factory Compile Hard is they're not making a lot of money to a point that they have to cut back. Bullshit, but they have done that before. An example is Ark of the Alchemist. was originally planned to have English dub. They pulled it back due to the poor sale of that game. So they said, nope, we're not going to dub it anymore. So kind of bullshit. Came with Azure Lane, again with Funimation, but that's a different story there. So, Sister versus Sister, we'll see. Another one, far-fetched because of what Sony needs being a prick. And of course, they did talk about this before on the Steam version. And again, credit to them for actually making an agreement to say, fine, we'll revert back and actually put in the Interesting Me mode. And that is Mary Skelter 2 for the PlayStation 4. It's already been out in Japan multiple times, and the problem is that the rumor talks is that if they're trying to release it as of right now for the PS4 in the West, Sony's gonna basically tell them remove the intimacy mode. They don't want players touching fictional girls. And yeah, I mean, the case with the Steam version, there was basically some talk and they said fine. But the way they did it is, it's an option, which is good. But the option is good is you put in as a patch rather than updating the game. So giving people option whether they want it or not. So if they could do that with the PlayStation version, great. Maybe, I know it's going to be bullshit because it's part of the game, but all right, like have an option. Remove it and make that part of the mode a paid DLC. Yeah, it sounds stupid. Like, why are you removing a part and making it paid? Because then, to some extent, that general consumer will say, oh, well, it's an option. So if people want that Interesting Me mode, they'll have to pay for it. Bullshit, but it's better than nothing. Because look what happened to Seven Kakura Brush Renewal for the PS4. They got rid of the Interesting mode because, again, Sony's problem is, and Nintendo to some extent with Fire Emblem Fate was, they're always afraid when a type of fictional game interaction, when a player sort of touch a fictional character, they're afraid. They freak out about that. Bullshit, but it is what it is. So anyway, that's my probably second prediction, probably far-fetched. Mary Skelter 2 for the PS4, finally in the West. I don't know. So anyway, those are my predictions for Idea Factory International for the NGPX for the third time. It's going to be on March 31st, 2022. So anyway, with that, I'll see you guys later. All right, a little bit of a follow-up. And after I did this recording, apparently Idea Factory International announced 2 games that they're going to do in the future. First of all is Biru Shana, Rising Flower of Genpei. And this one, kind of obvious, it's an automata game by Design Factory, which is a reverse harem visual novel. So they've been doing that before. They're popular. They have a subdivision from Idea Factory, Compile Heart. So that one, no surprise, another automata game for those fans. But the second one that is interesting that I saw is Dusk Diver 2. Yes, folks. So backstory is, yes, you heard me right, Dusk Diver 2. So the sequel. What happened to the first one? Well, it was released 2 years ago, but by P-Cube, different developer. So the reason it's sort of interesting here is that this is the first time ever I've seen Idea Factory International publishing other games than themselves. That's a surprise there. Yeah, so normally P-Cube, Axie Games, whoever, they would always publish Idea Factory game because Idea Factory themselves always said, hey look, we don't have the funding, we can't fund this game, localize this game, so we're gonna have to outsource it to someone. Again, a little bit of a bummer, but sometimes push can to shove. If you want the particular game to come out and they don't have the funds for it, that's what they do. Whether you like it or not, Idea Factory International, it's a small company and they don't make a lot of money to some extent. It's not an insult. They don't have a big budget, that's what I'm trying to say. And they normally have to outsource their game. So this is sort of the reverse now that apparently Idea Factory International is publishing a game that they didn't do. It's not Eternally, it's someone else. The first one was published by P-Cube. So what does it mean? Who knows, maybe to some extent Idea Factory International now are publishing other developers' games. So it is interesting. Like I said before, in the past, Idea Factory International only publish their own game internally. So this is the first time I heard about this with Dusk Diver 2. So kudos to them. Let's see what happened in the long run, what happened there. So yeah, this is the follow-up. And with that, once again, I'll see you guys later.